So legendary producer Statik Selektah is demanding quality control return back to hip hop and podcasting.
Motherfucker playing about gatekeeping. We need that back, because not everybody with a podcast setup should be able to get a platform. This set up for mediocrity to win, man. Gatekeepers were protecting what you heard, like the mixtape DJs, the radio DJs, the journalists. And I watched the real journalists that we all love now look sad and depressed because you got a bunch of clowns that never even been outside in their whole life talking about and getting all these views and changing how people think about things. It's like, sit the down, bro. You got $200 podcast setup. Nobody cares.
I had to bleep out a lot of
yeah. So. I cut out some stuff where there was more cursing, so glad you got that loan with the edit there. Appreciate you. So after seeing that, do you gentlemen agree or disagree with Statik Selektah that the lack of gatekeeping has lowered the overall quality and conversation surrounding hip hop? Does he have a point with his
I thoroughly
speech
disagree.
There? Wow. Yeah. Let's go. Tell me why.
Well, first of all, the gatekeeping comes from whether or not people even listen or watch your content. You know, sure. you will be, if you're just a trash individual who is not trying to actually be about quality, or maybe you're just trying to, you know, shake ass and shock, like that's going to get old after a certain amount of time, and people realize you don't know what you're talking about. And that's why so many people in the podcast space, once they get on and they don't realize, they don't automatically become the Joe Budden podcast, you know, in 10 episodes. That's why they quit, you know, because there's nothing in it for them, and they weren't doing it for the right reasons anyway. You know, I think there are a lot of people out there who do trash content. Yes. You know, but a lot of those people get discouraged when their trash content doesn't really connect with the people. You know, I would say what we do here is top tier. From the production side to what we talk about and how we talk about is top tier. And sometimes, like, I can look at the numbers and I can get a little discouraged, but if you know that you're whack, you know, and that you haven't really put the time in, how discouraged are you actually going to be? You know, you didn't do shit to do, you know, to actually create anything.
Right.
You know, so I think the gatekeeping, like, everyone likes to use that term, but like, there's only so much you can do to fool people. I think I think more of people, and that they're a lot more intelligent than to fall for the banana in the tailpipe all the time.
Wait a minute. Now.
You know, I'll finish and I'll let it get to y'all, because, you know, we all see things that we don't like, you know, but is it just flat out trash? And, you know, does it need to be gate kept? No.
I think you're throwing out a lot of grace to this online culture. I think Statik
Beverly Hills Cop reference.
I think he has a point with what he's saying, because I believe you can point to multiple podcasts or successful podcasts that are based in everything that he's talking about. There's not like it's a one-off where they're here and there. There are a lot of podcasts that fit directly into the mode that he's speaking against.
I can't name one. I can't.
Academics is the poster child.
Well, I already
he's
knew
a
that's
live
where
streamer.
you was going.
But he's the poster child.
But he's not a podcast. He's a live streamer.
He's not. I mean, people use podcasts is damn near a dummy term.
Yeah,
at this
like,
point.
what's the title at this point?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Okay, maybe influencer is a little bit better. I'll take that, but I guess some people would still classify him as. There are some people that say academics is a podcast, probably. Right?
I think if you're plus 40, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't consider
it's same
Kai
media.
Sinet. It's on the computer, but it's not a podcast.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's the same media avenue.
Okay.
My thing with this conversation is the gate is wide open and it's never going to close, because everybody can consume whatever they want to consume.
Good point.
On this worldwide web, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't pinpoint. There's not TV shows, or there's not a MTV Raps or a Rap City or a 106 in Park, and you know what I'm saying, the one on MTV. What was MTV? TRL.
Yeah.
That type of programming isn't going on anymore. So you're not. That was the gatekeeper right there. I'm programming. I'm telling you exactly what you should listen to. I'm telling you what we're feeding you, and this is what you should pay attention to. That doesn't exist anymore. Now I can log on and such and such could have dropped an album today. This person could have dropped an album today. I'm going to consume what I want to consume. Now, when it comes to the media space, I mean, if somebody's paying attention to these media stars, Castanat even come out and said, I'm not a music personality like that. Like, this is not where you come to get your music shit. I'm going to just tell you how I feel about the popular stuff that's out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when it comes to gatekeeping, it's gone. I mean, we're never going to get that type of situation to where I can find this underground artist that only a handful of us know, and then they blow up in front of everybody's eyes. It's going to be a gradual build that people just kind of come into on their own, man. I don't believe in that whole format anymore. It's just gone.
But I think he's leaning more towards not necessarily the evolution of the artist versus how people talk about the hip hop and the conversation around it, and how those people just seem to be inept or unqualified to talk about it, and then that spreads. I think that's what I took from. I mean, you can't. I guess from the video is like he's like, we got so many random people that don't know shit about hip hop on big platforms talking about hip hop. That's what I took from.
I mean, what is the big platform? Like, what do you consider the big platform?
Well, can I interject?
Sure.
So, I think the anger. I understand what Statik Selektah is saying, but I think the anger is targeted incorrectly.
Okay.
Because to Terry's point, these gatekeepers do not exist anymore in this particular type of way. The gatekeepers right now are the tech companies. The gatekeepers right now is the For You algorithm. The gatekeeper right now is the fact that you can have a bunch of people that follow you on social platforms, but they can't reach you because the social platforms want you to pay money to be able to reach the people that want to reach you. That's the gatekeeper, in my opinion. So I understand where Statik Selektah is coming from. And I do believe, to your guys' point, sure, podcasters, influencers, they exist. They are out there. I agree with Jay. I agree with you. I agree with all of you guys. But I think it's so much bigger than us. Yeah. It's like we have no control over this anymore. And so, and it's bigger than just saying, like back when we were blogging, it's bigger than saying, well, if you don't like it, don't talk about it. It doesn't matter anymore because the algorithm is going to throw shit in your face regardless, whether you want it or not. We have no control over it.
Terry made a good point about the gate being all the way up. He's right about that. Jump in there, Andy. I'm sorry.
I think Lone's got it, but there's even more here.
Sure.
I think everybody is right, and I think Statik's right. I think, when I was listening to that, I'm kind of in my head, cheering along, like, yeah. I mean, if you're a rapper and you've never been in a cypher, are you qualified to talk about ciphers?
Sure.
Are you, if you haven't done these things, and I think more than anything, I think gatekeeping might have been just the wrong word for him to use.
Potentially.
But I get why he's mad. I mean, I get it. The fact is that he feels
right.
In order for me to be in this business and be where I am, I had to do these things all the way down to UMTV Raps 106 Apart. Like, just think about like the radio shows where if you're an up and coming rapper or producer, you knew you had to do like these steps. You knew you had to get in the door. You had to put in the work. You had to play this many shows. And we're not putting that genie back in the bottle.
No, it's a wrap.
The gate is open.
It's wide open.
And this is a beautiful thing at the same time as being incredibly frustrating to old heads who put in the work.
Yeah.
Because there's parody. And this is a good and bad thing. Any dumbass with the ability to do a podcast is now a podcaster, right?
Quickly.
It doesn't mean that their opinion is wrong, because maybe this person has really thoughtful ideas and opinions that might influence somebody or make somebody think something different about a song that they've heard their whole life. Who knows?
Right.
He's obviously upset though about maybe what, people didn't put in their work, didn't pay their dues the way he did.
See, quality control is a wrap for that.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And let's not point the finger at podcasters, so to speak. Let's point the finger at
influencers or even producers or anything like that.
I'm just saying what he's saying, not what you're saying.
Sure.
He's directly going at podcasters and people doing this. Let's point the finger at the consumers, and let's point the finger at the artists that are being popular or made popular by these consumers. That's part of the reason why the quality control isn't there anymore, is because it's left in the consumer's hands. So if somebody sees, and we bring this up all the time, something that happens on social media, TikTok dance, this song has become popular, and now all of a sudden everybody's consuming it. This isn't somebody that you would regard as an artist in your eyes or one of your peers, but now this person is more popular than you. But you're mad at that hurts. Yeah. You're mad at them, or you're mad at the artist or whoever is publicizing and talking about it. And you're mad at podcasters versus not being mad at the artists and the consumers.
Well, if we combine what you're saying with what Jay Moore said earlier about if you're trash, the garbage is going to take itself out. People aren't going to listen to you if you're just no good, or if you're just saying some stuff. But the issue is that the consumers are buying in to what Lonegevity brought up, this algorithm. If you've got again, let's pick on podcasters. If you got a trash podcast and you're not getting the views, a lot of them are finding out all I have to do is just say something more provocative and louder, and it's going to start hitting with
the algorithm.
And then it gets to the ear of Statik Selektah, and he's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Mm-hmm. But I think more so what he's speaking on here is the threshold. I feel like he's the threshold for the launch to get into I guess we could say it's a gate, but I feel like it's the barrier for entry, if you will, to be able to have these opinions, to have these strong opinions, the lack of dues that have to be paid, the lack of
He was big on that.
But what about fact checking?
Well, that as well.
I mean, that's like, you can look at it beyond the hip hop world. You can look at podcasts and modern journalism in general. So and the issue is anybody can say anything at any time.
So again, like I think his problem is specifically with the threshold, but I think realistically what his problem is the fact that it's just a free for all. And it's just anybody can do anything at any given time. Anybody can say anything and it can pop off. It's a love-hate relationship for me. It's very frustrating to have built something, again, as an old head, to build something with over 100,000 subscribers, but not be able to reach the people because the algorithms don't work that way.
Yeah.
After you build it, you know what I mean? But it's frustrating to have an audience, but then the platforms won't allow you to reach them. And to me, that is a microcosm, or that's the macrocosm. Mm-hmm. I guess I would frame it, it's essentially the thing, in my opinion, that causes the problem with everything. So the reason why Statik Selektah is upset, the reason why a lot of it all comes down to the algorithm. It all comes down to the algorithm to me, because it pushes everything based upon the consumer, but the consumer is going to do what the consumer does, and the tech company just wants to make money. And
I don't want it to go back to the old way. I'll tell you what, I mean, because I just remember, when we talk about the TRLs and, these shows that, we're supposedly democratizing, what people actually wanted to see, there was still somebody in, an executive space in MTV, Viacom, who was like, yeah, we're not doing this. Like, because, at one point, like, the Juggalos, if those are the fans of Insane Clown Posse, they had got organized and we're trying to get, an Insane Clown Posse song on TRL. And at one point, it got because it was like a telephone thing, they got more votes than anybody else, but the people at MTV were not trying to have the Juggalos standing down in 1515. So that's just something.
Those are the gatekeepers.
That's gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want it to go back to that. If people in certain rooms just don't vibe with you and swing the pendulum, because we're doing a lot of pendulum swinging.
Yes.
people at MTV hated the New Kids on the Block back in the day.
Yeah.
So, you could go back to when they were the biggest group in the world. They were never at the MTV Music Awards. It didn't matter.
I think there's
people in those rooms hated that group.
I think there's a balance in between all this shit. But everything being said, right? The problem that I see, and this is literally something that I teach to students all the time, right? Because a lot of students, when they're becoming new artists and they want to put themselves out there, they're hyper-focused on platforms. They're hyper-focused on Spotify numbers, Apple Music plays, YouTube subscribers, Instagram followers. And my question is always, all right, let's say you blow up and you get 70,000 followers. Can you contact them? Can you reach them? No, you can't send them an email. You have no way to reach these people. To me, it starts with the platforms, which is an advertisement-based model, where instead of always pushing new in everybody's face, like new followers, new this, new views, how about we switch the model around to the people that actually follow you? They can actually see the stuff that they are following, because then it becomes more community based and you build a community around the thing that you're doing. Then it takes the gatekeeper part away from it. You're still able to infiltrate, or is some advertising in there. Think of social media before it switched in like 2016, like when Meta went full on advertisement mode, right? That was the way to go. You could grow, you can put your stuff out there. People that followed you could see your stuff.
Right.
But now they can't see it. And so I feel like it's tipping towards the side very heavily of the tech companies. Again, I'll die on this hill. The tech companies are the gatekeeper now. It's not the consumer, it's the tech companies, and they are the problem.
Yeah, they've been the gatekeeper, along with record companies were the original gatekeeper. And now it's just evolved into technology, because that's where everything lives now. But like, we have an artist, NBA Youngboy, does not have anything on radio, any of these platforms that actually promote his shit. But he's still like the number one on, like, when you look at like lists and whenever his albums drop.
When you just look at based on metrics
when you
alone.
base it on the metrics, he is winning clearly across the board.
Facts.
Based on himself. His tour is selling out. His tours are getting canceled because they're worried about what's going to happen in these arenas because of the fans, so to speak. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how somebody in this time has been able to organically grow his brand without the algorithm. It's all fan based. He hasn't used the radio. He hasn't used any of these other platforms except for himself, and is able to do that. So my question, I guess, is how can an artist like that be so successful at not using what we would consider the gate, essentially, in order to be this popular and this sought after?
I would need to know more about him, number one, but there's always exceptions to the rule as well. But some people can have a groundswell and they can build it up organically and they can spiral. We've seen this in many artists, there's always been people that have, if you guys have ideas on that, go ahead and chime in.
I think it's kind of what you alluded to earlier, Lone, to Terry's point. Somehow we can't track it. We can't pinpoint it, but he built his community. Yeah, clearly.
There's a community around him.
Something is happening where these people are consistently coming out to perform. It's kind of like he's an OG at this point, but I always use Currency as an example.
Sure.
He's built a community.
People are going to follow Currency wherever he goes.
He's one of the few people that I know, and it's not about stadiums.
Sure.
It's the fact that he can go into any city in the country, I believe, and with a certain size of venue, it's going to sell out because Currency's there. Yep. He has that type of following across the country at this point. He built his community. So I think when Terry was talking about Youngboy, yeah, he just found a way to do it. Now, what that is, especially in this
secret
climate,
sauce.
It's a secret sauce for sure, because it's extremely successful. His shows are extremely successful.
And who wants to cash in on that, or the tech company? They want to know what that secret sauce. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's why
I want to know.
That's why they changed the algorithm. That's why they're like, wait a minute, we can't This is out of our control.
Yeah.
So that's why, when it used to be, if I was doing a party, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to put this on my Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and my friends are going to see it. Now, I saw a flyer for a party that happened like a week ago pop up in my feed. I was like, well, this sucks for who, the individual who's trying to throw this party.
Yeah, you never saw it.
And I think that, that's to keep things like an NBA young boy from happening again, because we can't let this happen. I mean, and on a smaller scale, and I think it's different because he was he was an established artist who had cachet within the culture. But when you think about what Killer Mike and Run the Jewels have been able to do,
good example.
Once again, like you're talking about what and I don't say this to NBA YoungBoy is a no-hit wonder. He doesn't have one song that that has ever been played on the radio at such a large scale where he would be at a Billboard Awards and people would know exactly what the song is. And you can say the same thing for Run the Jewels, but the people, their community can go. Same thing for Little Brother. Their community. When we were in Chicago and saw that show,
facts.
There were parts where everybody in that room knew exactly what the songs were and how they were supposed to hit. And that, that's not about anybody pressing a button on those artists. That is about community. And I think the saddest thing about the way social media is set up now is it's kind of crazy. It's set up to destroy community.
Yeah, I don't even call it social media anymore. It's because it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's advertising. Plain and simple.
I think that's taken that what you described and what Lone is talking about with social media or whatever you want to call it. It's taken away that exactly what you described with Little Brother. It's taken away the ability for us to say, I feel like I grew up with Fonte, never met him, Fonte and Pooh, just through the music. So there was a whole group of people that felt the same way when we were there in Chicago, top and bottom. It was sold out. So now with the companies running everything and this algorithm stuff, all that's taken out. But somehow, like to Terry's point, I saw YoungBoy, and YoungBoy is not at certain level. He's not at smaller venues. These are stadiums that this kid is selling out.
I'm gonna tell you why he's doing that though, and it comes down to why there's not a gatekeeper. He sold himself as the brand, and the consumers picked it up, and he continuously put out the product that fed what they were looking for, and it evolved into a successful career for him. This is literally his first tour, like because he's made sure, well, maybe not purposely, made sure that he stayed in public eye, because I mean he's had court cases and been convicted of certain things and has been on home detention out in wherever.
He was in Utah.
Utah, yeah.
I was gonna say Colorado.
But yeah, so it's like he built, and like again, not purposely, he built a kind of aura around himself that made people want to tap in. And people are just tapping in based off of not the algorithm, just based off of NBA YoungBoy. So I feel like what Statik Selektah is saying is true, but in the same token, I feel like Statik Selektah has always been the type of artist that may not have been put on the forefront of the hip hop situation. You know what I'm saying? He's always been regarded as a underground or not all the way on type individual.
But he's also like a DJ, like a radio DJ. You know what I mean? Like for the radio.
Like, I mean, he's popular. He definitely makes his moves, but like when it comes to hip hop,
no, he's not.
The hip hop foundation that we once loved and enjoyed is gone, man. Like, and it to me, when we talk about it like that, it just makes us feel like we're out of touch.
Yeah, it's just like shaking his fist at the sky moment.
Yeah.
No.
That's just how I take it.
Sure. Now, Andy, does anything from NBA YoungBoy come through the store?
No.
Okay. I was just, that just made me think about that.
He probably doesn't even press up vinyl.
No, I mean, and we just had this situation with Chance the Rapper, where when I say we, physical music stores, independent music stores. I'm a big believer in physical product. I am not of the belief, but I'm of the facts That is how, if you can afford to start, you got to spend money to make money. But if you can afford to put it out, or your label can afford to put it out, the physical product is going to get the artist paid the best. And then that trickles down, mom and pop shops like mine get a piece, etc. Some like, I think what, $1,500 for every million streams on Spotify, something like that.
If that.
So do the math. So back to something you were saying earlier about look at the numbers. It's like, but what does that get you
exactly?
Really?
Yeah, nothing.
But Chance the Rapper has always been anti pressing the physical, and really it was this amazing conversation between Chance's dad and one of my friends who owns a record store in a different state, because Chance's team wanted to do these events to kind of goose their numbers. This whole Starline, he's putting out on CD.
Yeah,
and he was trying to get these bigger independent record stores that he knows reports their sales to do pop-up events. And most of us independent stores, there's about 1,400 across the country, but a lot of us, we talk to each other. And one of the stores did it, but all the other stores were like, no, I'm not going to do this. And the reason why is because the stores themselves wouldn't get a piece. I can't order this product. I can't carry this product all year round. You, as an artist, have never been supportive of physical stores or physical product. Why would I have you in my store?
Sure.
To do this pop-up just so you can goose your numbers? And they responded not, the knee-jerk reaction. It was not positive, but to their credit, they got on the phone and really talked about what it means to be an independent record store, what it really means to carry full-time your physical product. Your fans can come here and get this and take it home. You cannot roll a joint on the back of an MP3.
Right.
You need the liner notes. You need the physical product because, I'm sure there's some of you who have video games or movies that you've downloaded but then have disappeared because you don't actually own it.
Yeah, sure.
You own a temporary license.
But if you get the physical product, that is yours.
Yeah,
and so all these conversations, and God bless them because they were willing to listen and really, really, really had camaraderie over the fact that they are fiercely independent. Chance the Rapper and his dad, they're fiercely independent. And I bring all this up because it's a really good example of the NBA YoungBoy idea about being kind of self-made. And you are the brand first. You put out a good product. And this goes for your podcast as well. You started this off by saying, if you're trash, it's, nobody's going to watch you. Mm-hmm. And you're at 100,000 followers because you consistently put out good material. Sure. People want to hear what you all have to say. They wouldn't tune in if they didn't. And so you guys just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to outlast the people that Select is talking about. And NBA YoungBoy did his thing and built this community, and Chance the Rapper and his dad are, again, fiercely independent. They want to do it their way. They're not going to be part of these algorithms or backroom boardroom meetings about, what our numbers say is going to go into how you're going to put together the next album. They're not going to do those things. And as part of that, they didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't know that there were these other elements to the business, and they were willing to listen. And so those are the people you want to follow, so so good for him, but also good for them to be in a world right now where there's parity. If you have the ability to produce your music at Indiana University, Indianapolis with Lonegevity, and you want to get it out there, you don't have to go through those same gatekeepery channels.
Sure.
You can go and you can put it out yourself. Yep. Is it going to hit? I don't know. Maybe you can say something more provocative and get more followers. Sure. but the idea is that you at least have that ability.
Sure.
And if it's not quality work, people aren't going to buy it.
Yep.
I like that.
You're your own machine.
I like that.
You know, and this is kind of, I don't want to get lost either, because he did say something about, I guess, traditional journalism.
Yeah.
You know, and how even what we do affects how people view traditional journalism, and how, you know, there's a difference in perception from the consumer as far as what they automatically consider credible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be like, if you didn't get it from Walter Cronkite or whoever was writing in your local paper, then, you know, you're just some guy yelling on the street. And I think the frustration is with podcasting, there's a lot of people who were just yelling on the street who are now considered credible news sources. So I can see where he's coming from with that. But once again, the gate is wide open.
Yeah,
you have to be able to disseminate what's real and what isn't.
Yeah, I don't even factor us. Like, I didn't even think about us when he was ranting. Like, he's not talking about us.
No.
To me, he's talking. I understand what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
And I understand his frustration, but it is very much old man yell at the cloud.
Because I honestly, I feel like,
which I do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like regardless of what time we're in, even if we were, you know what I'm saying, 10, 15 years removed, Statik Selektah's position would still be the same.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but I'm saying as far as music goes and trends and things of that nature, somebody that rocks with him is more so a hip hop purist.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he ever had the chance to go on a Rap City or a Yo MTV Raps. He wasn't around for that era to actually experience that type of, you know what I'm saying, props given to you for what you're doing. I feel like he would still be in the same position.
Yeah.
And he deserves to feel that way. I mean, like, he
sure.
is
I
justified for being angry, but at the same time, the rest of us sitting at this table is like, yeah, but that ship sailed.
Yeah.
You know?
You can apply this to business. You can apply it to sports. You think about players in the 60s that had Chuck Taylors. They may have had to wear them throughout the course of the season versus players that get a new shoe every night. Commercial flights versus private jets. Evolution.
Working part-time jobs while still
there you
being
go.
an NBA player.
War, like all that type of stuff, doing all this stuff while trying to be a professional athlete. Now it's like these dudes are, in their eyes, they would say pampered. It's evolution.
Back in my day.
There you go.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a section in history where there's a back in my day. We're at the age now where it's back in our day.
I had to carry records.
Yeah,
into the club.
you know, it's just going to happen. But shout out to Statik.
Carry actual vinyl down the stairs of the Casbah.
No, for real.
I don't want to do that.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Statik, though, for at least being passionate about the culture. And
Right.
Yeah, appreciate that.
he has the platform to, you know, speak his opinion.